Hello and welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the French Tier 9 medium tank, the Lorraine 40T. So, is it any good? Nah. Well, that's not fair. It's okay. It could be a great tank, but the reload time and its fragility and its inconsistency make it really hard to call it a good tank. But it's very interesting. It can be a lot of fun to play, and I certainly couldn't call it a bad tank either. It can be very influential in the battle, but you need a bit of luck on your side, and you probably need to be a good player as well. It is a difficult tank to play well. Now, let me get into the review. It has 1,600 hit points, which is the lowest of any Tier 9 medium tank. So that's part of its fragility. The other part of its fragility is the armor is wafer thin. Now, the weight of this tank is 38 ton, which is on the light side. I would not advise ramming anybody in this tank. The speed, though, is very, very good. 60 kilometers an hour is a top speed. Now, the Leopard is faster at 65, and the E50 also boasts 60 kilometers an hour as a top speed. However, this thing is seriously fast. I mean, it gets to 60 without a problem. It takes off like a rocket, and it maintains its speed very well and goes up hills very well. It has 980 horsepower, and in a tank that only weighs around 39 ton, that's very, very good. So you can get from one side of the battlefield to the other very quickly, and from that respect it's really great. If you want to reset cap or something, it's a great tank for doing that in. You can also get yourself into a lot of trouble by getting ahead of enemy lines and finding out that you're the only tank there and getting totally surrounded and wasted, so you have to be careful and control yourself a little bit. Oh, I found I did anyway. Now, the traverse speed is only 34 degrees, which is pretty poor. However, that's on paper. In reality, it seems to be not much of a problem. I've found it turned pretty well. Maybe it's a suspension setup it has or something, I don't know, but it seems to be okay. It has a turret traverse of 42, which is very good, and the only tank that has a better turret traverse than that is the T54, which has 44. The Type 61 and the WZ120 also have 42, but turret traverse is very good. So, yeah, it's fast, turns okay, and has good turret traverse, so it's quite maneuverable, and up close is pretty good. The view range of 400 is about average, and the signal range of 750 is very, very good. In fact, is the equal best. It shares that honour with the Type 61, the Leopard, and the Centurion 71. So far, it sounds really good. Well, we've got a limit. One of the limiting factors, I guess, or one of the not great things, is the camouflage. It's not terrible. It's not like the E50, which has really poor camouflage. Or then again, the Type 61 also has poor camouflage because of its ridiculous cupola. This one, though, yeah, it's kind of in the middle ground there. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. But it seems to be sufficient. Seems to be okay. The other thing that's about this tank that is actually good is its gun depression. It has 8 degrees of gun depression, which is quite good. So that's my minimum for hill fighting, is 8 degrees, and it's got that. So it can hill fight, and because it's maneuverability and because the turret is towards the front of the tank, it really makes the gun depression quite workable. The elevation, is only 15 degrees though, which is pretty poor. Now, the only other tanks that do better than that in the gun depression stakes is the Centurion 71 and the M46 Patton. They both have 10 degrees. Oh, sorry, and the Type 61. They all have 10 degrees of gun depression. But other than that, this one's not too far behind those, and it's much better than some of the others. Okay, let's have a look at the grind for this tank. So basically, you've got the tracks which increase your traverse speed by 3, which is worth doing because you really need good traverse speed in a fast tank. The engine upgrade takes your engine power from 850 to 980, which sounds great, but I couldn't notice any difference with the engine upgrade. It's also supposed to stop your engine catching fire, chance of fire 20 down to 15. The radio is a really good upgrade because not only does it boost your signal range, but it's also lighter than the standard radio. And the gun, really, look, the stock gun, I wouldn't bother with it. The penetration of 170 is just too low for a tier 9. You're facing tier 10s, it's not going to do you any good. So get rid of that as soon as you can and get this gun. This gun has, it's a 100mm gun, it has 6 shells in the magazine, and it takes 2.73 seconds to load a shell. So I guess you'd be firing about, what, to fire all 6 shells is going to take you about 13 seconds, something like that. And then it takes 40 seconds to reload the magazine, which is a heck of a long time. And that's something else that adds to the what you might call fragility of the tank. Basically, you've either got to run while you reload, or you've got to hide somewhere and reload, or you need to pretend that you still have ammunition and try and bluff people into thinking that you still have shots in the gun. If they know you haven't got them and you're nearby, they will come after you for sure. And also, if you're in the heat of a battle out in the open and you suddenly empty your magazine, you are a goner. You're either just going to get shot and killed if you can't run in time. So don't get caught out in the open. Well, don't get caught out in the open at all in this tank anyway, because you'll get smashed. But yeah, the 40-second reload is one of the things that kind of makes this tank, takes it from being a good tank to an okay tank. That's one of the things. If it was just that on its own, it wouldn't matter, but that combined with a few other things I'll tell you about makes this tank not a good tank. Now, the penetration of 232 is not bad for a tier 9 medium. With premium ammunition, though, it only jumps to 263, which isn't much of a jump. So there's going to be some tanks that you just cannot penetrate frontally, even with premium ammunition. The damage of 300 per shell, though, is really good. When you consider you've got 6 shells in the magazine, that's 1800 damage in a burst. That's pretty darn good. Accuracy of 0.36 is wonderful on paper, but the gun is very inconsistent. So if you're sniping, for example, you might find one game, you fire 6 shots, they all hit. The next game, you fire 6 shots, none of them hit. Once you get above sort of 200 meters, the gun becomes, who knows, toss a coin. It could be accurate, it could be not accurate. Just, I don't know why, it just does that. Has a 3-second aiming time. Now, that's longer, you'll notice, than it takes to load a shell. So that means by the time your shell loads, you won't be fully aimed. And with this gun not being really accurate, you definitely do not want to shoot it when it's not fully aimed, unless you're really at close range. I mean, 0.36 is actually not bad accuracy, but it's not as good as that on paper. And if you try and fire with it not aimed, it won't hit. So if you want to, a pretty good solution would be to fit a gun lane drive, because that cuts 10% off your aiming time. So, excuse me, 3 minus 10% is 2.7, which means you'll be fully aimed by the time you load. Alright, let's get back and look at the tank a little bit more. Now, when I said fragility, okay, you've got the lowest hit points. The armor, which I'll show you in Tank Inspector in a second, is terrible. And if you are hit anywhere on the tracks, anywhere around here, you will be tracked. 100% guaranteed you will be tracked. If you are hit in the turret, anywhere in the turret, your turret will be locked. 100% guaranteed, if they hit your turret will be locked. If they hit the body around in the turret, so this top rim here, anywhere around the top of this, the hull here, there's a 50% chance your turret will be locked. This is really bad if you decide to sit in front of someone and just empty your magazine into them, and then they hit you in the turret and they move, because then you can't aim at them anymore and they blow you away and there's nothing you can do about it. Unless you can just try and angle your tank to get the gun back on them, but it's pretty hard to do. It spoiled so many games for me getting my turret locked. It's unbelievably weak. It has got the weakest turret of any tier 9 medium tank. So yeah, all these inconsistencies and weaknesses just mean that you're going to have, or I have, a lot of bad games in this tank. You will be playing a game, it'll be going fantastic, and then bam, all the inconsistencies hit you and you're stuffed. But you can have good games in it, and it can be a lot of fun. Right, let's get into Tank Inspector. So it's time to have a look at the armor of the Lorraine 40T in Tank Inspector. Let's go straight to the colorized view. Oh, before we go colorized view, you can see it is a pike nose design, like some of the Russian IS 3, 8, 7. However, the armour is too thin for it to really be effective. So we can see here that the upper and lower hull are 40mm thick. There's your lower plate there, comes out equivalent of 54, upper plate 48, and it varies 47. So there is not a tank in the game that cannot, or that will have any trouble penetrating you frontally, or not a tank that you're going to meet anyway in the Lorraine that will have any trouble penetrating you frontally. The front of the turret armour is 45mm thick, so once again there's not a tank that you will meet that will have any trouble penetrating that. And you've got this small section here which is 30mm, the cupola 45, the whole lot's 45 around there. On the side of the tank, the side of the hull is the same as the front of the hull, it's 40mm thick, and the rear of the tank has 25mm here including the hatch, and this area here is 30mm, which is the same actually as the rear of the turret and pretty much the side as well. And that's pretty much all there is to it. The top deck is 20mm, top of the deck of the tank and the turret, and that's it. Pretty simple armor layout, and well, it's really the same as having no armor. It's no armor basically.
Time to roll out.
The map is Ruinberg. It's a tier 9 match, and it's only just a tier 9 match. There's only 2 tier 9s on each team, of which we are one, so we're very lucky. It's good. It's a good deal for us. So moving to the forest side, I just find this thing is not a town fighter. Popping out and taking shots is not a great thing for this tank because it can't exchange shots. It just gets beat up too much. So still loading, as you can see. So I've encountered a tank, but I can't shoot it because I haven't loaded. My magazine hasn't loaded yet. That's the trouble with pushing too far too quickly in the Lorraine, is you're likely to run into a tank and you won't have any ammunition loaded, so you do have to be very careful. It's like mines. If you go to the hill in the center of mines, you will get onto the hill without any ammunition, so if other tanks get up there and they're loaded, they'll just start shooting you and you can't shoot back. You have to be careful of that. Alright, we've spotted a Chi-Ri. Terrible armor on the Chi-Ri, but we don't have any armor, so its auto-loading gun could do a lot of damage to us, but I don't know if he couldn't see us or what, but he kept his turret turned the other way for far too long in my book. Okay, there's the T-71. He's not looking at us. I've got 2 shells left in my magazine, and 1 apparently was enough to finish him off. We're a bit lucky there. There's the other T-71. Can we get him? No, I'm trying not to get spotted by him at the same time. AMX 5100 and a Tiger 2 there as well. And the Tiger 2 moves out. We can get him in the turret here. Oh, he was turning his turret back. That was a really lucky shot. 1, it was lucky that we even hit it, and 2, it was lucky because the angle, he was starting to angle back, and we were lucky to penetrate at that angle on it as well. So, hey, sometimes you've got to be lucky. Now you can see I'm reloading. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit while I'm reloading. Still got 17 seconds left. I'm starting to have a look. I've reloaded now, so back to normal speed. He's looking the other way. I decided to put in his turret because it's more of a guaranteed pen where it's turning completely side on, and also I was hoping I might damage his gun or his ammo rack or something so he couldn't shoot back, but that didn't work. And he did shoot back and it hurt. He did 324 damage. Mind you, we hurt him pretty bad too. 300 average damage per shell on the Lorraine. It adds up pretty quickly when you've got 6 shots. So now we've got a T-69 here. We don't manage to penetrate with that shot. 2 shots left in the magazine. You really need to know all the time how many shots you've got left in your magazine. I'm considering reloading, but I decide to see if this AMX 12T spots anything first, because I might be able to get a couple of shots off, and he has spotted indeed an RHM. And I just can't get him. I can't quite get that AMX either. And there's the RJ. frustrating. It takes a while to aim this gun, and 3 seconds, and it's really not worth shooting without aiming unless you're at very close range. It's almost a guaranteed miss. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit now to 2 times. Oops, it looks like we've got a shot, so I'm slowing it down again. Near HM. And it happens to be the killing shot. That's nice. Now the enemy is capping. There's 79, 82% capped, 84. We're in big trouble. 87. I can't get there in time, and oh, it looks like we've hit them because it's back. It's 88 again, and 90 now. 91. We're in trouble here. We're rushing in though. All our tanks are rushing. Oh, and we've hit them because they're back to 41. So okay, we've got some people there helping reset, which is great. We see a Carnarvon. He's on low health, and we managed to nail him. No shots left in magazine, so we're reloading now. I'm just going to speed it up while we're travelling across here. And I can see tanks there. I haven't reloaded. I can't shoot them anyway. Now I've been spotted. Back to normal speed. So they are still capping. They've probably realised they're down tanks now, and the only way they can win is to cap. So that's why they're staying on cap. It's the right thing to do from their point of view, but they're going to lose. I've got the side of this KV-4 now. Look how quickly, with help from my friends, we're able to devastate this KV-4. And I've still got plenty of shots left to share the love with the love. Oh, it's called a low, but anyway. And he's down. There's only 1 tank remaining on the enemy now, so there's no point reloading. I've got 2 shells left. I don't think we're going to get any more shots off in this game. Sitting on cap just to get a few cap points while I'm waiting, and yep, someone gets the T95. End of the game. Okay, so obviously we won that game, and that was our Class 3 Mastery Badge. Obviously we didn't have enough time to really do more damage than that. We won it quite convincingly. We did damage and hit quite a number of tanks though. Next screen, and we finished on 2nd for experience in that game. And I think we finished top for damage, it looks like. Don't think anyone else did over 3,000 on our team anyway. No, so we did top for damage. Let's have a look at the next screen, and you can see that we fired 16 shots, 15 of which were direct hits. That's very, very good. And penetration of 14, also very, very good. The damage was 3,479, which is really good for such a quick game. Hits received 1, which penetrated. We spotted 1, damaged 7, destroyed 5, which is sensational. I did a little bit of spotting damage. Base capture points 5, defense points 3, not much really. Someone else hit that Carnarvon or whatever it was before we did. And we made good money in that game. Once again, the tank survived and we won, and we did pretty good, so that helps. So 940 XP was Class 3. Now I remember, I think that other game I had was what, 1100 or something, and that was a Class 1. So it's probably only a little over 1200 or something like that will give you a mastery. But I have never managed to get it. Okay, next game.
Move out.
Okay, here we are in our Lorraine 40T, French Tier 9 medium tank. The map is Westfield, and it's a Tier 10 match. About half the tanks on each team are Tier 10s, and most of the rest of them are Tier 9s. As you can see, this thing motors along. Look how we're going up the hill here. We are passing the AMX 1375. Well, there's a pair of them. That's pretty quick when you look at the size of the tank. And this is a hard hill to get up fast. So I'll just speed it up a little bit now, the game, just to 2 times while I move into position. Oh, I'll slow it down again. Okay, so a normal speed now. There's an enemy AMX 1390 moving into position, and I couldn't quite get a shot on it. And someone else nails it. And we spot an M103 on the other side, so maybe now I'll get a chance.
Penetration.
We tracked it, which is great. Now I've been spotted. It's so tempting to keep shooting when you know you can get the kill, and I should have moved. I got hit by an IS-8 for 448, which is not good. That hurt. Got me through the lower plate, center of the lower plate. I'm now reloading, and it's a 40-second reload, so I'm just going to speed it up. So yeah, as you can see, basically you pull back and hide while you're reloading. Okay, so we've reloaded now, back to normal speed. And we've spotted a Conqueror on the other side. Tier 9 British heavy tank. No troubles penetrating the Conqueror, as you can see. And the accuracy does look pretty good for that range. Now, 462 meters, but bear in mind, I did say the gun was inconsistent, but bear in mind that the games I'm showing you are where the gun was not playing up. The gun was doing fine. Otherwise, I would have not done any damage and I would have got killed and I wouldn't have any points shown to the game. So, but trust me, the gun can be very inconsistent. T-54E1. Another good hit there, 549 meters, so the penetration is quite good at range, even though that's not exactly a tough tank. And we're out of ammo, need to pull back and reload. That's another thing about the 40-second reload. Sometimes it means that you might have a tank and you think, oh, I'm going to destroy this tank, and you don't quite have enough shots to do it. You've got to pull back and reload. In the meantime, it's someone else has killed it. It can even be like 3 or 4 tanks and you're having a field, they're just shooting them all and you pull back, and then by the time you come back out, they've all been killed, and, and you've got virtually nothing because you spent most of the time the battle was going just reloading. Alright, so we've reloaded, back up we go. That T-54-1's just been killed. There's still a T-57 hiding down there. I'm really tempted, due to the speed of the tank, just to charge in, pull up next to it and start firing into it. But the tank is very fragile, so if I get hit on the way through, yeah, it's too dangerous. I'll get tracked and then I won't be able to move, and then my turret will get locked and then I'll just get destroyed. It's happened too many times. Now, I didn't mention that my crew all 100% trained, and they all have the camouflage skill, so that'll be adding to the camouflage value of the tank. It probably won't be quite as good if you don't have crews trained in camouflage. As well as that, I have vents fitted to this tank, which give another 5% to all crew skills. And you can see there I've got binoculars and camouflage net fitted as well.
Enemy vehicle
And
destroyed.
we actually managed to get the kill on that one. And now we get some payback on the IS-8.
Enemy armor is damaged.
We got the back of him, fortunately. That was good. Good work. So reloading, back we go. I'll speed it up while I'm reloading. And back to normal speed. Now, I can see on the map that there's we're kind of in a bit of trouble on the other side of the map. Now, AMX 5120 has moved up to try and get within view range to help by shooting at the enemy over there. And at this point, I decide I'm going to have to go over and help. Actually, at the start, I think, oh yeah, I'll just move a little bit closer, see if I can see them. Then I decide, nah, I've really got to go over there and see if I can help. Now, just have a look at the speed of the tank here. So we're doing 70 kilometers an hour now down this hill, 71, 72. So it's pretty quick. Doing 60 right now. So you really can sort of charge in and be the cavalry in this tank coming back. It's just that you got to be a little bit careful about how you do it, because if you get hit, yeah, you're in trouble, and you probably will get tracked if they hit the side of your tank. Okay, so we're coming up now. We can see there's an IS-7 there. I don't really want to be on the front end of an IS-7. I've also got another tank on my left there. An IS-4 on the left, I think. So I'm just using a bit of cover here just to make sure, because I've got to have to dart across this field and I really don't want to get hit. I can see there's a ridge covering me from those other tanks. I'm just seeing if the IS-7 is going to come over, expose its side. It doesn't look like it. Can't really get a shot there. Now I can see the game's pretty much near the end. It's 11-8 They've only got 4 tanks left and we've got 7, so I figure I'm just going to risk it. If I die now, it doesn't matter that much. As you can see, we're already doing 50 kilometers an hour, or over 50. So there's a T95 there as well, an IS-7. Now, at first I decided to just, because the IS-7 is on such low health, I decided to just pop over the hill and shoot the IS-7 in the side. And I think, no, that would be silly, because the T95 will kill me. And I've got the opportunity to sneak around behind the T95, so I figure that's what I'm going to do. I've got the speed to do it. And the IS-7's just been wasted. This is the only way I'm ever going to penetrate this thing.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
And that was pretty satisfying. So we've still got 3 rounds left in the gun. And they've only got 2 tanks left now. They've got an IS-4 and a T110E3, is it? Or E5? E5. That's the heavy tank. I'm going out wide because I don't want to get hit by the E5, and I'm going to try and use these trees on the right over on the side here for a bit of cover. Hopefully, no, I've been spotted, so I've got to be quick now. IS-4.
That one didn't go through.
I can't afford to muck around. I've just got to empty my magazine,
Penetration.
and I have emptied my magazine. So now he's about to point his gun at me. I'm in trouble. I've just got to move. I've got to run now. I've got no ammo, and fortunately my teammates nail him, and it's the end of the game. Okay, so that was a victory for us, and that game was good enough to get a Class 1 badge. Now, I never got any better than Class 1 this tank. I haven't managed to get Mastery, so there are some people having better games in it than me, so bear that in mind that I'm not the best player of this tank, and you probably can get a bit more out of it. As you can see, we hit a lot of tanks, and we also did a lot of spotting damage in that game. Let's go on to the next screen. And we finished on top for experience with 1,164, which is really good. Damage wise, it looks like we finished 4th, I think, about 4th for damage. But it was a tier 10 game and we were a tier 9 tank, so I think that helped our experience level there a fair bit. And we did a lot of spotting damage too. The Leopard came second and he did over 4,000 damage. So, alright, let's have a look at the next screen. And you can see we fired 23 shots, 17 of those were direct hits, and considering the range we're shooting at, it was actually pretty good. And 14 of those were penetrations, which is also pretty good. We did 3,369 damage. We received 1 hit, which penetrated. And we spotted 2, damaged 7 vehicles, and destroyed 2. And we also did 2,396 spotting damage, thanks to our binoculars and the fact that we moved around a little bit there. As you can see, we received 68,000 coin for that game, and we survived, so didn't get too much tank damage, and we spent a bit in ammo, but we still made 40,000 profit. That said, I don't think this tank is super profitable. Like all tier 9s and 10s, if you don't have a really good game or you lose, you can often lose money. Now, 1,164 raw XP was enough for first class, but not enough for mastery. And with premium, it came up to 1746. So let's get into another game. Thank you for watching my review of the Lorraine 40T. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. Have fun!